Well, good morning, everybody. And as we start this new week, we're going to continue to see quite a bit of flooding down here along this stalled out frontal boundary that's moving across parts of the south into the lower Mississippi River Valley and over into the southeast as well. And yesterday we saw rainfall totals in some places like around Dallas top 8 to 9 inches out of some of these storms in through here. Now, this has been delivering some of the first rainfall, significant rainfall to parts of Texas and Oklahoma, going back to maybe the beginning of summer. And some of the rainfall totals here are causing a lot of flooding because it's going to be difficult to get that water to soak in. Elsewhere, we're seeing this upper level low we talked about that delivered some rainfall over the weekend spin through part of the eastern Great Lakes, and it will be heading into New England today. And in a few moments, we're going to talk about some stuff coming out of the tropics. But I can take you back to last night and show you the satellite imagery here across the west. Still very vigorous southwestern monsoon. I just wanted to point out, too, we did see with some of the heat over the weekend, some more wildfires spreading in parts of the western United States. But let's take a look at the weekend rainfall totals here. So you can see where the upper level low was sitting on Friday over parts of Minnesota, and it did produce some severe storms that produced some hail that stretched from near Des Moines into eastern Iowa. But much needed rains passing through parts of Illinois into Indiana and Ohio with that upper level low. But then you can see down here stretched along that frontal boundary where some of the heavy rain was from the Carolinas all the way back to the Red River Valley of the South, where we're still dealing with flooding right now. So if we take this map and see what it did to the latest soil moisture data, again, we can see the places that have been missed by these systems. It's really going to be, this corridor in through here and what still needs to come through parts of New England. But a lot of places here really improving their soil moisture with some of these weekend rains. And so we still need more in pockets throughout the Corn Belt here, but down south, a lot of heavy rain. I am concerned what this possibly did to the cotton crop that's grown here. This is a big section for U.S. cotton growth and our cotton production, and with most of the crop, I think, heading toward open boll, this could have been pretty devastating to a crop that had been hit hard by drought. Okay, from here, I do want to show you where the pattern's going to go. So this is our cutoff low. We're going to keep an eye on this trough here that's in the Gulf of Alaska, because as we play through this week, we continue to see a ridge and almost a blocking setup happening here, where there is this ridge on top of what appears to be a weak little cutoff low. But what's important about the position of this trough and this trough is what they end up doing by the time we get to Friday into Saturday and Sunday. So if I take you back, this is going to push a front later this week up all the way against the Rocky Mountains in Montana, coming around the base of this trough. But then the pattern breaks down. See this? It breaks down by the weekend. And we get this trough feature that could be coming through here this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And I'll be watching for what this could possibly do to develop thunderstorms here. Because if you notice, there's still an elongated subtropical ridge here, which means the flow is going to open up and pull that moisture in. And it could really increase the storm threat. But again, that's at the end of this week into next weekend. So until then, we do see some scattered storms coming through here middle of the week, plus some better rains pushing up here into this part of Montana. But the main story is going to be the flooding rains we're going to continue to see down here along the stalled out front across the south. Okay, if we look at the probability of getting an inch of rain over the next 10 days, again, very high here, but improving chances in parts of the upper Midwest. Probability of getting 2 inches, still extremely high through parts of eastern Texas to Alabama, and here's that probability for 4 inches. So that's why we're continuing to see the threat for flooding in this particular area. The high-res models show us that. So watch, this was early this morning. You can just see how very slow-moving this complex of storms are and how they keep kind of invigorating over the same areas. In fact, we even get a little bit of a spin up here, a little probably meso-low that forms in that area by the time we get into Tuesday evening. In fact, it'll show up here, I guess, Tuesday morning through Tuesday evening. And outside of that, though, you can see the scattered storms coming in on the next front. The southwestern monsoon continues. And finally, some of the rain that's in the Carolinas today moves offshore. Now from there, I want to show you where the European model picks up. So here's that cluster of storms. You can see the stalled out front right in through there. It's very slow moving middle of this week. So this is Wednesday going into Thursday. See, it just barely sags to the south, but pushes up against the Rockies. So some scattered storms here as this comes through. But as the storms clear the southeast, notice by Saturday, start to see the shape here. What we're watching is the development of a low that could form this elongated pressure trough here and deliver some storms. See it there on Sunday, Monday. And I'm going to be watching for that later on this week. Week 2 precipitation. We do keep the Gulf open, so there's plenty of moisture coming in here to continue to keep the storms rolling. But we're going to watch a lot of this starting off early next week. So a lot of this rainfall you see here could possibly become early in the week. And from there, I got to start talking about the tropics, because National Hurricane Center has given this area a 20% chance of continuing to develop. My point is that the environment ahead of it is more favorable than previous systems. I'm going to be watching this corridor all week and through here to see how this system evolves. The map I've drawn on here is from the latest European outlook for low pressure tracks. Okay, let's talk temperatures. Here's today's highs compared to normal. So we do have some heat pulling back into the northern plains, Canadian Prairie, stretching back to the western United States. But under that cloud cover, quite cool in the south. There's Tuesday's highs. Getting into Wednesday, you can see that next front sagging here we talked about on Wednesday. And then as we work out to Thursday and Friday, this is going to be a cooler week all week compared to normal for the south and southeast. And while the west continues to see a lot of upper 90s, lower 100s in California and 90s in the northwest, by the weekend there's quite a bit of a pattern moderation here. But remember, by the time we get into this weekend, this flow is going to have this trough in the midsection of the country. So I'm going to watch this whole area here for the possibility of stronger storms. The 5-day sliding window on temperatures as we go out here to the end of August and start the new month of September. There are, and we'll be talking about this a lot over the coming weeks, there are no indications of a really early and devastating frost. Just want to make that clear. You can see through the first week of September, milder conditions pull through the Canadian Prairie and much of the west, while cooler conditions stay to the south. In tonight's in-depth analysis, we will be covering more about the start of the South American growing season. It is a bit drier over the next 10 days, but remember, we had a lot of rain that just moved through this area recently, but it didn't really cure the drought in parts of Argentina, and we're still watching, for the start of the monsoon here. But we'll talk about what could get it kicked off and quickly once I have the new long-range European data. And also in tonight's update, we'll be talking about China. There was a lot of chatter over the weekend about drought throughout China. I put the maps in the report today, but we do find kind of a wetter corridor in through here, and it's been drier for much of the year north and south of that corridor. And in today's report, I link all the crop production maps so you can see them for China if you want to see which crops were affected. So I hope you all have a good start to your week. I will talk to you again later tonight and then again tomorrow morning. Thanks.